Oh, Toastmaster. Toastmaster. What are you? Make master of ceremony? Toastmaster of the day?
Yes. Oh, the standard introduction is Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guest.
Yeah, that. Good afternoon. My name is Greg Haupert. I'm very excited to be with you for our icebreaker today. As I kick off today, I need to take you back, of all places, but to my sophomore year in college speech class. Yes, it's an interesting dynamic. The topic is a persuasive speech. The theme that I picked is the merits of studying abroad. The speech goes so well that the following semester I wind up enrolled in the University of Haupert in Denmark. Well, I don't know the language. I don't know anybody that I'm there with. And honestly, it's the first time in my entire life that I've really been outside a comfort zone. Grew up in Minnesota, in Minneapolis actually, my entire 20-some years at that point. So what I'm going to do is my icebreaker is just kind of share with you a couple of spots around the world that I've lived and some of the experiences that I've taken away from those and how those have really kind of influenced who you see before you. So in Denmark, I don't know language, like I mentioned, I'm not quite sure what's happening there. It's the first time that I really have to start developing some skills and trusting intuition, recognizing how I get in situations and how I get out of them. There's a lot of different dynamics that I've never had to develop or rely on at all. So it's interesting for me to have to develop those skill sets and figure out really kind of how the world works, which was difficult for someone that's really kind of been a golden child in life, was really up until that point really easy. So out of Denmark, I take away a skill set of really learning how to identify and adapt with what's happening around me, trust my intuitions. The other thing that I learned is that I can actually conquer a language in about 12 weeks.
Wow.
It helps when you're immersed, and the only way to talk to girls is in Danish. So you've got right? There's motivation there. You know, and the other thing that I take out of this is that when you learn a language and you dream in that language, that's when you know you really got it figured out. So that was a very important part of it as well. From there, I want to take you to a cross-country journey at the time, moving from the Midwest over to Charleston, South Carolina. Now, having been a foreign exchange student for about a year in Scandinavia, I figured I really kind of had the transformation of moving from one part of the world or country to another down pretty well. Nothing prepares you for the deep south. At least being from the Midwest, and of course, therefore, then, yes, the Yankees. The deep south is alive and well. There were so many things that I took out of our experience down there. One, faith. The Chamber of Commerce meeting, or any business function, starts with a prayer. So you're immediately thrust in, or for me, back from the Midwest, back into religion, which was pretty dynamic and pretty interesting for me. Actually, I love the experience that it came for me. The next thing that I took out of the South was pace. Slower. Now, Minnesota is not dramatically dynamic, but the South is slow. Even driving 70 miles an hour in the left lane is considered rather rude. So as I learn pace, the other big piece that comes out of this is relationships. Nowhere else in the world will the guy next to you, standing in Home Depot in the hardware aisle, want to strike up a conversation with you about what project you're trying to do. Now, this is early in my Charleston career, so I'm thinking Midwest, I need to get in and get out. It's only my third trip to Home Depot, right? So that Saturday morning project. I don't want to talk about what your project, I don't care. I just want to figure out what, right? But no, 45 minutes later. Okay, I got to go. Thanks, dude. Appreciate that. So I learned pace. The other thing that part of that, though, is I learned relationships. The importance of them, honestly. I don't necessarily consider myself a type A, but I guess I am, because usually when there's about 10 minutes to go in the conversation, I've checked out. I'm done, moving on, I'm thinking about other stuff. It's just, so the South, 8 years of pace really kind of helped me slow down, and that was good. The last and the most current 8 years of my life brings me to the Sierra Nevada. There's an interesting saying you learn moving from the beaches of Charleston to the mountains. smart people live at the beach. Wisdom is found in the mountains. I'm still looking for wisdom. I'll find it, I'm sure, as I develop and continue to get to learn the landscape. Some things that we've kind of learned here in Reno. The outdoors. I thought living at the beach for 8 years was pretty good about being outdoorsy. Nothing compared to here. I have a new love of mountain bikes and rocks and boulders and bumps and bruises that I've never known until now, so that's been pretty enjoyable. The other part of it is entrepreneurism. My wife and I are small business owners here in town, and the outside the box, the stretching that requires to run a small business is, again, a really cool aspect of my life here that I'm enjoying and trying to embrace and not fall over with stress as the days go by and as the fires burn and all of those kinds of things. Those of you that manage things know it can be a trip. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an interesting journey with you. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.